So we have come a long way when we talk about monitor options that are available for us today. This may sound like boomer talk, but back in my day when I first started gaming on my family computer 30 years ago now, on our little Hewlett-Packard Pavilion running Windows 95, there were no options for the monitor you could get. It's pretty much what came with the tower, that big massive box of a monitor that you had. And to be honest, back then you were pretty much balling if your monitor had the speakers that attached directly to the side of them. That was pretty much like peak monitors back in the day.
Nice.
Today, we're spoiled with the number of options that are out there. Aside from the obvious ones like size and resolutions, we can choose from different panels like IPS and OLED, different refresh rates, 60 Hz all the way up to 500 Hz and more at this point. But on top of that, we could choose the form factor that we want. We could go 4x3, 16x9, 16x10, 21x9, 32x9. The options are endless when it comes to choosing the right monitor for you. But for today's video, I just really wanted to focus on the two most popular options that are available right now. And that is, which is better for you, whether it's gaming, productivity. Is it better to go ultra-wide 21x9, or is it better to go with your standard 16x9, 1080p, 1440p, 4K monitor that's available to us? First off, if you are enjoying this type of video, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Now, to begin with, quick little too long to watch for this video is that if this is the type of gamer you are, then go for a 16x9 monitor. If this is more your speed, then maybe an ultra-wide is the way to go. Now, I'm going to be removing the pricing as a factor since we're strictly focusing on the form factor. And besides, you could find a VA ultra-wide for about 300 bucks, just like you could find an OLED 16x9 monitor for $900. So there are budget and expensive versions for both standard and ultra-wide 21x9 monitors. So let's remove the pricing as a factor. Okay, so with me are two monitors. Both of them are from Dell, and they are both 1440p. So this one right behind me is the S3422DWG, which is a 3440 by 1440 VA panel, ultra-wide 21x9. And this one over here is the Dell S2721DGF, which is your standard 16x9 2560 by 1440p IPS monitor. Okay, so let's start at the difference between an ultra-wide panel and a standard one. To break it down as simple as possible, the ultra-wide will provide you an additional 33% horizontal screen real estate than the 16x9 option. And although that may just sound like a bigger screen, there is a bit more to it than that since you are extending only the horizontal image and not the vertical one. Remember, they're both 1440p on the vertical. So the only difference is the horizontal length, whereas one has 2560 pixels and the other one has 3440 pixels. But by doing that, it changes the aspect ratio. So 16x9 to 21x9. Okay, so my current setup, my daily battle station, my daily setup, however you want to call it, is a triple monitor setup with a 34-inch ultra-wide 21x9 in the middle and two 27-inch 16x9 monitors on the side. Now, let's take a look at some of the reasons why you would want to go ultra-wide. So first off, if you're someone that will be using your main monitor mostly for work and productivity, then a larger screen real estate just makes sense, as it will be easier to multitask where you could have multiple files and pages open on the screen while still being able to focus and getting your work done. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to content consumption, now this could differ both ways. For example, movies are shot in 21x9, so they'll look great on ultra-wide. It's going to fit the whole screen. You're not going to have any black bars. But TV shows and live events, on the other hand, are recorded in 16x9, so they will look great on your standard 16x9 screen because it's going to fill up the whole screen. But on ultra-wides, you're going to have black bars on the left and the right if you're watching TV shows. So the easiest way to look at it is ultra-wide means no black bars on movies, but black bars on TV shows, whereas the 16x9 means no black bars on TV shows, but you'll have black bars on movies. Now, another thing to consider has to do more with your desk space. If you plan on having only one monitor, then you should be good either way, unless you have a really, really tight space. But if ever you want to start with one screen and then expand to two, then it's much easier to do that with two standard monitors than it is ultra-wide, since ultra-wide in general are going to take up a larger desk space than your standard monitor. So if you want to have multiple monitors, then you might be limited by the space and your desk size, and you might have to go with two standard monitors than, let's say, two ultra-wide monitors. Besides, if you have two 27-inch 1440p monitors, you could always do a custom resolution and have one super ultra-wide 32x9 aspect ratio monitor. with a resolution of 5120 by 1440p. But I don't really recommend doing that for games where you need to really see the center of your screen because you're going to end up with a really big bezel and it's kind of annoying. Now, that kind of leads into my next point, which is depending on what you use your PC for, you might need to make sure that you have the proper hardware to run the resolution you will be viewing. Now, this is more for people on the gaming side since an ultra-wide monitor can have more pixels than a standard one and requires more GPU power to hit a proper frame rate. Now, speaking of gaming, if you're into open world RPG or racing games, then ultra-wides offer a wider field of view, making the experience way more immersive. But if you're somebody who likes to stick with competitive FPS first-person shooter games, then you might want to stick with a 16 by 9 since some esports games don't even support ultra-wide resolutions and you still want to get the best frame rate. And to get the best frame rate and performance, you're going to want to have, I guess, a lower resolution, which means running something like 2560 by 1440. Now, remember those black bars I mentioned earlier? Well, that's kind of important if you're someone that plans on streaming your games from an ultra wide. Since most streaming sites work off a 16 by 9 canvas, your gameplay will either have black bars on the top and the bottom, or ultimately, you're going to have to cut off the left and the right extra 33% real estate that you have to fit on most people's content and to fit on the canvas. Basically, look at it this way. If you're going to stream from an ultra wide to Twitch, the top and the bottom of your stream are going to have black bars. But that's not a bad thing. You could use it for your camera. You could use it for notifications, latest subscribers, stuff like that. Or if you want to have a full screen of the gameplay, then you're going to have to cut off the left and right sides, which isn't the biggest deal for the viewers if you're able to make sure your HUD is in the main 16 by 9 portion of your screen. Ultimately, the right monitor depends on a variety of specific needs, so there is no perfect answer to say which one you should go for, and that's going to be different for everybody. For me, the ultra wide will always be the center main monitor. It's for my needs, it's just better for consuming the content I enjoy, the games I play, to working, editing videos. It has no drawbacks for me. And since I have two young kids, dog, wife, a whole family, I don't really play competitive FEF games anymore. Not because I don't want to, it's just that because it's almost impossible to play since I'm gonna have to pause the game every once in a while because the kids are gonna cry, someone's gonna need me, I'm gonna have to pause the game, go upstairs, come back. So my gaming sessions aren't uninterrupted anymore. So I need to be able to play games that kind of fit into that schedule, if you know what I mean. Because every time I try to sit down and I start to play a game, either somebody's calling me or needs something, which is fine. I'm all for it. But I had to adapt my games that I play, which is kind of fun because now I'm playing games that I've missed out on in the past. And that's the beauty of this, right? You could go back and play these games again. So games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Black Myth Wukong, I know that's pretty new, but all these games that are fantastic single player experiences that I missed out on because I was so into Counter-Strike, Valorant, COD, and I never got a chance to really play these campaign games and single player story games. It's now opened a whole new world for me and I'm enjoying it like crazy, being able to game on my own time at my own pace. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry if you wanted a definite answer to say you should go ultra wide or you should go 16 by 9, but the reality is it's going to change depending on your needs and it's going to change for everybody. So you just have to look at what's more important to you. How are you going to consume content? How are you going to game? What games you're going to play? Are you going to be using it for work, just gaming, editing, streaming? All these things are factors to consider when it comes to choosing the right aspect ratio for your monitor. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think. What do you prefer? Do you think ultra wide is the clear winner? Do you think a standard monitor is a classic one and it's always going to be the best decision? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And remember, if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And that'll do it for this one. And I will catch you guys next time.